This was really a fun episode, and I really liked getting the explanation and seeing the backdrop on the Zoldyck family and just how much they own and how much influence and power they must have. Hunter x Hunter, episode 22, A Dangerous Watchdog. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and now newly anointed hunters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and fantastical, mind-bending tale of Hunter x Hunter 2011. Now, our last episode saw us with wrapping up, of course, the Hunter exam arc and seeing Leorio, Kurapika, and Gon all getting on an airship, I believe, to go to Podokia, which is where, to Kukuru Mountain, which is where Killua's family resides. So that's where we left off, and that's where we pick up. We actually pick up with them in there, getting on a tour bus to go take a tour of Kukuru Mountain. Now, what we wind up finding out as they're going and they're approaching on this bus is that the Zoldyck family, right, Killua's family, they don't just live at the top of it. I mean, they live at the top of the mountain, but they own the whole mountain and some of the surrounding countryside and everything. That's all their front yard, because as they're going and kind of driving up this, this first part, I guess, of the hill, the rise, whatever, and they're going by, they wind up coming to this huge gate, right? Just 50, 60-foot tall gate. And the tour, bus guide is explaining about, and this is the front gate to the Zoldyck family residence. And I'm like, what? These fucking people, man, it must pay to be an assassin, dude. You own your own mountain and the countryside around it. Anyway, as everyone goes and gets off the bus and what have you, we get Gon and of course his tag-alongs in Leorio and Kurapika, and they get off, and we wind up seeing that there's this little guardhouse next to the testing. They call it the testing door, this huge door, which we find out as well. And there's this older gatekeeper, Zebro, his name is, and it winds up being Gon and all them wind up witnessing some thugs that just kind of come out of nowhere that go and they're like, you're gonna give us the key, we got to get through there and blah blah blah. We're gonna go in. Some thugs that want to. Obviously, this is a family of assassins, and they don't make it a secret where they live, so there's probably a lot of people that are seeking their heads, Nonetheless, though, so they kind of like go to beat up this Zebro, and then gives them the key. They go in through this little side door, right? That's near his little guard station there and whatnot. And they go in, and you just hear like just like some crazy shit going on back there, right? And I'm like, oh wow, it sounds like some crazy like animal orgy of like dragons and unicorns and fucking minotaurs and God only knows what else is going on in there. Whips, chains, dildos, everything. But it just sounds crazy, and then all of a sudden you see the door open back up, and you see like this like claw paw type thing go and just drop like the remains of these people out, right? So that winds up going and kind of scaring off the tour bus driver, and whatnot, and they're telling everybody to get on, and Gon's like, it's okay, we'll be fine, go ahead, So they go on, they take off and whatnot, and Gon goes and approaches this Zebro and talks with them, and a little bit, and finds out that, that obviously he's this guard, and that he guards the gate here for this Zoldyck family and everything else. They ask what that was inside, and he says, well, that's Mike, and Mike is basically this, like this watchdog guard animal type beast, right? And he explains, because obviously there is a lot of enemies and everything else. Now, the thing that's neat about it, and that they wind up figuring out, is that, see, when he gives him that key for the side door or whatever, because a lot of people probably come and do that, this Mike, we find out, is trained to kill anything that comes in through that side door, right? And here's the deal. We find out that the huge door, right, the big, and what we just call the testing door or testing gate, isn't even locked, right? It isn't even locked, and if you go through that entrance, Mike won't mess you up, right? Mike will leave you alone. He's trained to only attack people that go through that small door. So it's kind of neat. It's more of that mind game type stuff, Nonetheless, though, we wind up getting that explanation from Zebro. We find out that each door weighs 2 tons, right? So 2 tons per door. Boom, so 4 tons just to, you got to be able to push 4 tons just to get through. That Zebro winds up showing us. He goes and takes off his little uniform, his top, and like that, and he's sitting there in like a wife beater type, a t-shirt or whatever. And dude's jacked for an old guy, right? And he's like, oh, and he's able to open one set of them. Goes on to say that when Killua came there, when he came back, and he was obviously all pissed off and jacked up from what his brother had done and everything else and whatnot, He went and just busted right through, pushed right through, because there's sets of doors that are attached, or one attached to another and everything like that, each one weighing 2 tons, so obviously, 4 tons per door. So he wound up pushing through 3 sets of doors, and pushing through, so 12 tons or whatever. Absolutely amazing when you think about it. This kid's 12 years old, dude. That's a ton he can push for each year he's been on this planet, It's a little spiky hair. Fuck, I like that little guy, But nonetheless, so we get this banter back and forth about things and how they're going to get through and everything else. And Gon goes, his arm is still messed up and everything else. And Gon's like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm not going to bother with, Killua is my friend. Because first they ask, hey, can we go up there? You know what I mean? And he's just like, no, unfortunately, I can't let you in or whatever. And then he goes and he convinces this Zebro to go and call the guard station up there, the butler station, right? And the butler, of course, pretty much says nope and hangs up on him. No visitors for Killua. And so then Gon's like, well, let me call. So he calls and talks to him. He's like, but he's my friend, And they're like, you don't understand. Killua doesn't have any friends. I don't want to see you. Get out of here, So it's my job to protect him, and you're not coming in. So Gon's like, Gon, man, he is very, very, we saw him get his arm broken and not even flinch, not even give up. And he got the dude that broke his arm to go and to give up just because he didn't want to deal with him anymore. So Gon has got stones like you couldn't believe, He goes and whips his fishing pole up on the wall. He's just going to climb over the top, right? Zebro eventually is like, just come down, just come down. He sees how much resolve this kid has, and that he's not going to back down and everything else. So he goes and agrees to go and take him in, take him in through the gate and what have you. And that hopefully if Mike sees them with them, if Mike sees him, with them, that he won't actually attack and what have you, So it was pretty cool because Gon like straight up refused. He's like, I don't need to worry about any of this testing crap or whatever. Because Leoriel the whole time is like, oh, how are we going to open this door? Just to think about it, that's tons and tons, So I thought it was a very cool, it was a neat chapter, and in a way it was one of those, not chapter, episode. I thought it was a great episode because it shows Gon's determination and resolve. And we've seen that in a few episodes so far, and I know it's only the tip of the iceberg from what everybody tells me, but I think it's a real nice segue and setup showing this backdrop for where the Zoldyck family lives. And then obviously, too, just things like, hey, listen, you're these known assassins, and you're making your address public to everybody in the world, so you have to have some kind of measures in place. You have to have some systems and controls in place so people can't just walk up and murder you in your front yard or climb in through the window and kill you while you sleep, right? So I thought that was kind of cool, And then we get a little bit of a breakdown about the Zoldyck family and how many are in there and everything else and blah, 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 So I thought that was kind of neat. Overall, though, the cool thing is once they do wind up going through the door, the episode winds up ending with that. Well, shortly after, they wind up actually seeing this Mike, and he is like this huge sort of like wolf dog looking thing, man. But I mean big, like Clifford the Big Red Dog big, you know what I mean? He's not just like regular size. He's not, he's like 15 feet tall and maybe like 25 feet long, So anyway, I thought it was very cool how everything was played out, and I can't wait to watch the next one. As a matter of fact, immediately when I'm done recording this over here. So all in all, a very good episode. And as I said, the main lesson that I learned from this was really just reinforcing Gon's resolve and his whole and his push. For this is his friend, and he was wronged. He believed he was wronged, and he is going to go and fix what was wrong. What his brother. He's going to pick up the slack for what Killua's little shit-eating brother did. And just in his mind, just kind of like rescue him from himself, rescue him from his family. So very, very cool stuff. So excited to see the next one. My episode question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, I guess, what are your thoughts on this whole kind of setup for the Zoldyck family? Man, I thought that was cool. I mean, it's one thing when you hear about their base or whatever is on the top of a mountain, but it's another thing when you hear like they own the whole mountain, the surrounding shit. They got this huge setup with this testing gate. They got this freaking beast named Mike, of all things. And I just thought the whole setup was really cool for that in the backdrop. Let me know what your thoughts are, though, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. Remember to follow me over on the Twitter and Facebook and even my other channel.